Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to try to do something a little bit crazy, condense one of the world's longest, most complex, and most influential stories into just a few minutes. Yep, we're talking about the epic history of Indian civilization.
I mean, seriously, where do you even begin with a story that's been going for over 5,000 years? How on earth do you capture the essence of a civilization that has shaped so much of our world?
Well, you start by kind of throwing our normal idea of time right out the window. In ancient Indian thought, time isn't just a straight line. Nope, it's this vast cyclical ocean. A single cosmic day, or kalpa, lasts for, get this, 4.32 billion years. Understanding that immense sense of scale is really the key to the whole story.
And that brings us right to our first chapter, the Age of Ideas. This is where you see how this incredible concept of time got woven into myths and philosophy, creating the very foundation for everything that came later.
What's so fascinating is that this isn't just a simple timeline. It's more like a moral compass for history. You see, ancient texts say time unfolds across 4 great ages, or yugas, and with each age that passes, righteousness, this cosmic moral order called Dharma, it literally loses a leg, getting more and more unstable. Right now, we're in the Kali Yuga, with Dharma just teetering on one leg.
But here's the brilliant part. This isn't a story about doom and gloom. Not at all. It's actually the perfect setup for a comeback. This powerful idea from the Bhagavad Gita that a hero will show up to restore order right when things are at their absolute worst, well, that becomes a pattern, setting the stage for the rise of real-world empires and leaders.
Okay, so how did these huge, epic ideas actually translate into the real world? That brings us to our next chapter, the Age of Unification. This is where we see those big concepts get put into practice on a massive imperial scale.
2 incredible empires really defined ancient India. First up, you have the Mauryan Empire, led by the famous Emperor Ashoka. After this really bloody war, he had a total change of heart and decided to rule not by the sword, but by Dharma, by moral righteousness. Then, centuries later, along comes the Gupta Empire. This was a true golden age, not of conquest, but of mind-blowing achievements in science, art, and math.
And this is where the story's impact becomes something we still feel every single day. Gupta thinkers gave the world the concept of zero. Just pause and think about that for a second. Without the number 0, there are no computers, no internet, no smartphones. The very device you're watching this on right now owes its existence to that idea. It's incredible.
But India's story isn't just about what happened inside its own borders. It's also a dramatic story of transformation, one that was shaped by encounters with new people and powerful empires from beyond.
So, starting around the 13th century, a whole series of new powers arrive. First, the Delhi Sultanate brought this new Turco-Persian Islamic culture into North India. Then came the legendary Mughal Empire. Under amazing rulers like Akbar the Great, the Mughals didn't just conquer, they created this absolutely breathtaking fusion of cultures, art, and ideas.
The next wave of outsiders, though, would bring a totally different kind of change. When the European colonial powers arrived, which eventually led to the British Raj, it wasn't about blending cultures. It was about something else entirely: control, administration, and, frankly, extracting wealth. And if you want to see the economic impact, just look at these numbers. In 1700, before the British really took over, India's economy was an absolute powerhouse. It made up almost a quarter of the entire world's GDP. By the time they left, it had collapsed to just 4%. But, and this is so important, out of that hardship, something totally new was born. A powerful, unified sense of what it meant to be Indian, forged in the fire of resistance. And that powerful sense of identity, born from struggle, sets the stage perfectly for our final act, the incredible story of how modern India was born.
Of course, the face of this freedom struggle was Mahatma Gandhi, and he introduced the world to this revolutionary new weapon called satyagraha, or truth force. It was just a brilliant strategy, a combination of nonviolent resistance, civil disobedience, and economic boycotts, all designed to bring the most powerful empire on earth to its knees without firing a shot. But independence, when it finally arrived in 1947, was born in tragedy. The departing British just hastily drew a line on a map, creating India and Pakistan. The result was the partition, a brutal, chaotic event that caused one of the largest and most violent mass migrations in all of human history.
15 million people were uprooted, and it left scars that you could argue have never fully healed.
And yet, out of this incredibly difficult birth, India started on one of the most ambitious projects you can imagine: to build the world's largest democracy, a secular nation for its unbelievably diverse people, all while trying to achieve its own economic and technological greatness.
So after this incredible 5,000-year journey, what's the big takeaway? It's really these themes that you see running through the whole story. This amazing ability to find unity in all its diversity, a long history of intellectual genius, and an almost unbelievable resilience, this power to absorb crisis after crisis and still hold on to a core identity.
And that brings us to today. India, a nation of 1.4 billion people, a rising global superpower, and still the world's largest democracy. It's a story that is very much still being written. Which leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. After 5,000 years of constant change, what will be the thing that defines India's next great chapter?